Hey guys, listen, he might not be the offensive coordinator you've been craving for years. You know, one of those Ivy League type eggheads who comes out of the 49ers factory with a 500-page playbook. But Arthur Smith, I believe, is the quarterback that you and all of us need. Good afternoon to you. I'm Dan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Double Shot. It comes your way at 4 p.m. Eastern every day, and it goes to all platforms just like my morning daily shots do. It's just a little bit of a PM update on things. And today we're going to be checking into what went on at Steelers practice, a look ahead to some things related to the offensive line, the banged up offensive line, and how they're going to handle the Broncos defense. And more than anything, we're going to talk about this coordinator because he had a session with reporters today on the South Side that I thought was just crazy, meaning in terms of how telling it was about him really for the first time since he's been in Pittsburgh. Watch this. This was his response to a question about just the general state of the offensive line and what he thought of how they did in Atlanta.
Yeah, we're always a work in progress. The best teams, obviously you want to grow as you're stacking wins and the improvement, but we want to be playing our best football going into the postseason. And that's what the good teams do historically year after year. You're always a work in progress. For those guys, really, 2.5 rookies, however you want to categorize Broderick, young lineman, especially the new center on the road against a veteran defense. Somebody asked me the question, how do you protect them? You don't want to give away the strategy. We wanted to control the line of scrimmage. It was a little blunt force trauma, made it ugly. It was pretty at times, depending on your perspective. And I thought as the game wore on, we were able to possess the ball, I think, 36 minutes, I lead 11 in the fourth quarter. The one thing that, I wish we had handled that long drive we had. We really could have gone for the kill shot there, and credit to them. They out executed us on 3rd and 2 and 4th and 1, but that took a lot of clock, and we were rolling them off the ball. As a coach, maybe I'm sick in the head, but that was beautiful to me.
You catch that part at the end? That's him. That's what he hadn't shown to date. Now, in fairness, when you're an offensive coordinator, you're not in the business of showing anything. You want to keep all of your cards close to your vest. But that was Smith glowing about that offense. And look, I'm not being an idiot here. I'm not ignoring that they didn't score a touchdown against the Falcons. I get that they have to do that. I also get that they have to do a better job of finding wide receivers not named George Pickens. I also get that they have to attack the middle of the field. I believe that they'll do the latter a lot in Denver, if only because, Sean Payton and his whole staff have had several days to break down film of what they did in Atlanta. You want to throw something different at them. You want to show that you're not limited to just going to the edges. But that's not what had Smith excited. What had Smith as I guess you could call that giddy, was that they held on to the ball, was that they pounded forward. They had long, sustained drives. They had 35 minutes of possession time. They had put themselves into position to get touchdowns. If they had just, as you heard him say, punched one or two in, everyone would have been reacting the same way that he is. But what he saw was a process. What he saw was steps toward this team becoming really efficient and also multifaceted. And what he knows, and that I don't think most people know, is that wasn't it. That wasn't their offense. That wasn't a fraction of their offense. And what I mean by that specifically is the zone blocking. He kept the blocking simple. You heard him acknowledge it. You've heard me report that earlier in the week. They were looking to just have their young guys do this. Just boom, 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 straight ahead. Find a guy, block him, the end. That's the scheme. Well, he can do better than that, and they ultimately can do better than that as well. It's exciting. I don't want to hear the Matt Canada stuff from anybody. Be better as a Pittsburgh football fan than to just look at the scoreboard and come up with some sort of contrived analysis. This guy had all kinds of really smart schemes. He was getting people open. He was managing the quarterback that he had in the circumstance that he had. He was managing the offensive line that he had in the circumstance that he had. The Canada stuff is ridiculous. You can see, just open your eyes and look at some of what he was doing here. Don't just watch where the football goes. When we come back, I'll be joined by Chris Halleck from the South Side.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Joined now by Chris Halleck, our Steelers beat writer at DK Pittsburgh Sports. He's over on the South Side, just got out of the locker room. And Chris, the challenge that this offense faces, there's actually several of them, but it all just comes down to one, doesn't it?
Yeah, they got to score points. They got to get in the end zone.
Yeah.
They got to finish drives. Really, really interesting. Somebody who can kind of be a little bit interesting or kind of not interested also with talking with the media. Najee Harris gave a really good answer to wanting to be able to finish drives and saying that they just have to execute the plays called, that the plays are there, they need to execute them, they need to stay on schedule. And he called what they want to do on offense like a 15 round, like it's going to go 15 rounds. And that's what they want to do on offense. And it's like when they start doing things their way all the time, that Atlanta's kind of a precursor to what's to come, that they're just going to grind down opponents week in, week out. That's what they want to do.
And when he says they need to execute, he's talking about, and we don't have to guess at this, and you know what I'm going to say, because there was an opportunity for him to get in the end zone, and either Calvin Austin or George Pickens could have thrown a big block, and they didn't. There also was a play that Pickens ran to the right. You know which one I'm referencing here as well. Pickens ran to the right. If it had been blocked, if one individual had sealed off where they were supposed to seal off, he'd still be running. He'd be all the way in Savannah at this point. And I think this is what he's referencing here, because you're talking about an offense that did a lot of things right, showed talent, showed capability, not just at the quarterback position, not just George, but and not just Najee in the 15th round. They did a lot of good things, but there's just missing on some stuff. But it all feels correctable, doesn't it?
And like it is little mistakes. And Arthur Smith this morning talked about needing to be more detailed. And those are the kind of things you want to hear from an offensive coordinator, because when the offensive coordinator prioritizes details, that means that that's going to be the forefront of what they talk about when they're in the classroom and before they even get out into the practice field to actually try to execute those plays. And so when that's at the offensive coordinator's, when that's at the forefront of his mind, that means that's going to be the plan going forward for the offense and cleaning that little stuff up. For example, that play that on the 3rd and 2, when they had that really long drive, and they ended up throwing that little swing pass to Van Jefferson. That was actually Arthur Smith actually said that was what's called a screen run option.
Yeah,
he was supposed to hand that off to Jaylen Warren. And if you look at the play, and I have it highlighted on the DK Pittsburgh on DKPittsburghSports.com, the hole was there. He might not have just gotten the first down; he might have gotten in the end zone. Like little things like that get corrected, man, this offense will score points.
Because the people are in place, and I think we're all convinced is too strong. I think we're getting toward being convinced that Smith is going to be, exactly what he's always been, which is an NFL level coordinator, which is something that's wholly new for everybody around here, right? I just think that this week he's also going to have to put some different wrinkles in. I think that as much as you would have liked what he did in Atlanta, and not just related to getting into the end zone, he's got to be able to throw over the middle. I could see a situation where Denver's almost expecting, as Sean Payton and his staff are looking at film where literally everything went edge to edge. I think they have to get the ball over the middle, starting with number 88.
I would agree with that. And Arthur Smith did flat out say, we didn't throw to the middle of the field because we didn't want
Jesse
Jesse Bates to
Bates,
wreck
yeah.
the game. He called him a game wrecker and pretty much said, their game record didn't wreck the game. Ours did. That was the story of the game.
TJ Watt.
Yeah, TJ Watt wrecked the game.
That's
Jesse
good.
Bates didn't. We weren't going to let Jesse Bates wreck the game. Remember how Raheem Morris said, we're not going to let TJ wreck the game? Well, guess what? TJ wrecked the game.
Yeah, TJ wrecked the game.
And this is where I think people need to start appreciating the fact that Arthur Smith is a legitimate offensive coordinator, because we want to give, like here in the football community, we want to give Bill Belichick all this credit for being a football genius every time he would game plan and scheme certain players out of the game. Well, guess what? Arthur Smith schemed Jesse Bates to hold, 6 tackles. Okay, that's a decent game. No splash, no takeaways, no TFLs, no nothing. That is scheming a guy out of the game. That's what you want to see from an offensive coordinator.
You want to see them understand how to attack weaknesses rather than how to attack strengths. But at the same time, Chris, I'm going to be a little bit stubborn about this. Because we saw this offense all summer long looking effective over the middle. We saw Justin Fields specifically looking effective over the middle. Eager actually would probably be a better word. He likes throwing there.
And I do think that they will do that. Like, not every team has Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons as your safety tandem. They will be able to attack the middle of the field against specific defenses. Shoot, Justin Simmons was on Denver last year. He's gone now. They are weaker at safety than Atlanta is. So this would be a game
everybody
that
is.
Right. So Denver is a team that they can do this against. And yeah, you're right. If they just look at what the Steelers did in week 1 and think that everything is going to go outside the numbers, yeah, that's not going to be what Arthur Smith has a very, very long history of attacking the middle of a defense. The fact that, like, I would even call week 1 more of an outlier for him but because that's his first game as a Steelers offensive coordinator, I think that's what some people might be concerned that this is going to be the norm with him. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think this is going to be an offense that attacks the middle of the field.
Before I let you go, Chris, any further feel for quarterback in Denver? It seems to me that there's no way you're going to be able to pull off some sort of magical Russell Wilson revival between now and Sunday.
I would expect him to be a guy who is also listed as a limited participant on Thursday. I still don't think that he's going to be able to go. He says he's getting closer and closer. I just don't. With Justin getting the full reps the entire way, I don't see a situation in which Russ plays. I just don't
see where, even from a coach's decision standpoint, he would play at this point. Chris, appreciate you checking in. When we come back, J1Q.
Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different. Help prevent gun accidents, misuse, and theft. Keep firearms safe and secure when not in use. For safe storage options, visit projectchildsafe.org.
Time now for the J1Q segment, which stands for just one question, but we've been getting a bunch of these and from lots of faraway places. So we're going to throw a couple in today. The first of these comes from Alex Marvan Fabricius. Hope I got that right. In Germany.
Do you think is the chance that we get a new wide receiver 2 from some other team via trade? And who do you think will be? Maybe you can answer that, and greetings from Germany. Have a nice day.
Right back, Alex. No, I can't, because I don't know that. Every time there's another name that pops up or a Devontae Adams is seen waving to the crowd after the Raiders game, you're going to have all kinds of fuss. This guy, that guy might be part of this, might not be part of this. The fact is, when it comes to trades, and this applies to any sport, but maybe doubly so in the NFL, where there just are so few of them, you don't really pick up on vibes. The Brandon Ayuk thing stood out because it became so public and so visible. mostly obviously on the Santa Clara end. In this case, do I believe that Omar Khan is continuing to look for a WR2? Yes. There's no way you try as hard as he did, Alex, to get someone like that. There's no way that you commit that kind of trade capital, that kind of money, that kind of cap space in the talks and then say, you know what, we'll be fine. He's not going to be that. Let's take another one today from my man Mike Mitchell down in Jacksonville.
Hey DK, was the signing of Terrell Edmunds a steal based on the fact that the Jags organizationally are usually a soup sandwich when it comes to recognizing talent? Thanks. Lifetime lunatic here. You know me. I'm the submarine guy. Later.
He actually is the submarine guy. He's been here to visit us before, and he has spent significant time in his life in a submarine. Mike, I don't know if you did that just to get a shot in at the Jaguars, who happen to be in your city of residence, or if you're an admirer, as I am and have been, of Terrell Edmunds. I appreciated the way Mike Tomlin answered the question that was asked of him Tuesday regarding TE. What he wanted to do more than anything else was to shore up his safety depth chart. And the one thing that TE brings you and has always brought you is availability. I don't want to knock on any kind of wood here or whatever, but TE has just always been healthy. He stays on the field. He'll take whatever number of snaps you give him. And if you think back to the 2023 season and all of the safeties that were going down, I mean, it wasn't just Minkah Fitzpatrick. It was everybody. They were putting people off the street out at the safety position. This allows the Steelers to experience at least some comfort from the standpoint that the TE stays out there. He's going to be available, but also that they know him. They know him. I got to be honest with you. I don't know why they let go of him in the first place. I didn't understand that. I know he wasn't the greatest coverage guy, but he can do so many different things, including sliding up to the line of scrimmage and helping out in the run. So I love the acquisition. I don't expect that you're going to see TE play out, for example, this week in Denver, but it is going to make a difference over the longer haul getting this player back. Guys, I appreciate this. I appreciate everybody who is checking in with the new Double Shot Show, and we will be back with another one of these tomorrow that's really going to go hard at the weekend ahead in Denver.